Did you know? Ah, wigs. Simultaneously fascinating and amusing. Everybody knows the potential comic value of putting on a fake hairpiece. But also, we all know the tragedy of a wig, or even real hair, which just looks a bit fake. For many, the history of hairpieces famously starts in ancient Egypt. It is here that wigs were simply part of the daily beauty regime. Having a shaved head was a sign of wealth and status, discouraging lice and nits in the heat of the day. However, having a wig was an excellent way of keeping up with the latest fashions. Wigs would be fixed in place on one's head with beeswax. Scented waxes and resins created a pleasing aroma along with the hair. The use of wigs spread throughout the ancient world, Greece and Rome, for example. Here is Cassius from the film Gladiator, sporting a truly mesmerizing hairpiece. Not only did men wear wigs, probably to hide their baldness, but also Roman women. Here are two examples of Roman women sporting wigs. This is a so-called diadem wig. With the fall of the Roman Empire, the use of wigs dwindled for around 1,000 years, until it was rekindled under the patronage of some very famous people. Elizabeth I, for example, famously wore a red wig in the Roman style, very similar to the fashions which we see on Roman statues. At the turn of the 17th century, King Louis XIII of France became an avid wig wearer when he went prematurely bald, and his son, Louis XIV, took the fashion to new, extravagant heights. Royal wigs made their way to England with the restoration of Charles II to the throne, but the diarist Samuel Pepys wasn't always keen on the fashion. On the 3rd of September 1665 he wrote, "Up and put on my coloured silk suit, very fine, and my new periwig, bought a good while since, but darst not wear it, because the plague was in Westminster when I bought it. And it is a wonder what will be the fashion after the plague is done, as to periwigs, for nobody will dare to buy any hair for fear of the infection, that it had been cut off the heads of people dead of the plague." No such fears affected the aristocracy in France, and fashion icons such as Marie Antoinette were forging ever more elaborate hairpieces to wear in court. Here's a cartoon, ever so slightly mocking the size of the hair. Wigs made from human and animal hair came in various pastel shades, ranging from white and grey to pink and blue. And they often made comment on the events of the day, depicting scientific discoveries and political debates. Here, for example, is a ship. But for these hoity hairpieces, the days were numbered. 1789 saw the siege of the Bastille and the beginning of the French Revolution. Royalty and aristocrats were having their heads chopped off by guillotine. And in this famous sketch, Marie's final hairstyle is anything but elaborate. She was executed on the 16th of October, 1793. Now, today, while unlikely to be at the centre of a revolution, wigs and hairpieces are still, nonetheless, very expensive. Despite this expense, there are those who are suspected of wearing hairpieces, which, if they are, probably weren't worth the money. They look, well, a bit dodgy. At Archaeo Soup Towers, we reckon if you're going to tout a toupee, why not take a leaf out of Marie Antoinette's book and go, well, the whole hog?